Seven heavens were created and seven earths were created. The most removed, the seventh, reached the sixth Adama, the fifth Arka, the fourth Haraba, the third Yabasha, the second Tevel, and our own land called Helid. And like the others, it is separated from the foregoing by obvious chaos and water. Great catastrophes changed the face of the earth. Some perished by deluge, others were consumed by conflagration, wrote the Jewish philosopher Philo. According to the rabbinical authority Rashi, ancient tradition knows of periodic collapses of the firmament, one of which occurred in the days of the deluge and which repeated themselves at intervals of 1656 years. The duration of the world ages varies in Armenian and Arabian traditions. The Sun Age, an oft repeated occurrence in the traditions of the world ages, is the advent of a new sun in the sky at the beginning of every age. The word sun is substituted by the word age in the cosmogonical traditions of many peoples all over the world. The Mayas counted their ages by the names of their consecutive suns. These were called water sun, earthquake sun, hurricane sun, fire sun. These suns mark the epochs to which are attributed to various catastrophes the world has suffered. It's Lil Jyotchil. 1568 to 1648. The native Indian scholar in his Annals of the Kings of Tizkuso described the world ages by the names of suns. The water sun, or son of waters, was the first age, terminated by a deluge in which almost all creatures perished. The earthquake sun, or age, perished in the terrific earthquake when the earth broke in many places and mountains fell. The world age of the hurricane sun came to its destruction in a cosmic hurricane. The fire sun was the world age that went down in the rain of fire. The nations of Culua or Mexico, Humboldt quoted Gomara, the Spanish writer of the 16th century, believed, according to their hieroglyphic paintings, that previous to the sun which now enlightens them, four had already been successively extinguished. These four suns are as many ages in which our species has been annihilated by inundations, by earthquakes, by a general conflagration, and by the effect of destroying tempests. Every one of the four elements participated in each of the catastrophes. Deluge, hurricane, earthquake, and fire gave their names to the catastrophes because of the predominance of one of them in the upheavals. Symbols of successive suns are painted in the pre-Columbian literary documents of Mexico. Sino sols que son edades, or something like that. I cannot read Spanish. Or five sons that are epochs, wrote Gomara in his description of the conquest of Mexico. An analogy to this sentence of Gomara may be found in Lucius Ampelius, a Roman author who, in his book Liber Memorialius, wrote, Sols Fure Quinque, or something like that. There were five sons. It is the same belief that Gomara found in the New World. The Mexican annals of Cuautitlan, written in Nahua Indian 1570 and based on ancient sources, contains the tradition of seven sun epochs. Shishon Tonatui, or the seven suns, is the designation of the world cycles or acts in the cosmic drama. The Buddhist sacred book of Visuddhimagga contains a chapter on world cycles. There are three destructions: the destruction by water, the destruction by fire, the destruction by wind. After the catastrophe of the deluge, when now a long period has elapsed from the cessation of the rains, a second sun appeared. In the interim, the world was enveloped in gloom. When the second sun appears, there is no distinction of day and night, but an incessant heat beats upon the world. When the fifth sun appeared, the ocean gradually dried up. When the sixth sun appeared, the whole world became filled with smoke. After the lapse of another long period, a seventh sun appears, and the whole world breaks into flames. The Buddhist book refers also to more ancient discourses of the seven suns. The Brahmins called the epochs between two destructions the Great Day. The Sibylline books recite the ages in which the world underwent destruction and regeneration. The Sibyl told as follows: The 9 suns are 9 ages. Now is the 7th sun. The Sibyl prophesied 2 ages yet to come, that of the 8th and the 9th sun. The Aborigines of British North Borneo even today declare that the sky was originally low and that 6 suns perished, and at present the world is illuminated by the 7th sun. 7 solar ages are referred to in Mayan manuscripts, in Buddhist sacred books, in the books of the Sibyl. In all quoted sources, the suns are explained by the sources themselves as signifying consecutive epochs, each of which went down in a great general destruction. Did the reason for the substitution of the word sun for epoch by the peoples of both hemispheres lie in the changed appearance of the luminary and in its changed path across the sky in each world age? No book or collection of books in the history of mankind has had a more attentive reading, a wider circulation, or more diligent investigation than the Old Testament. R. H. Playfair, Introduction to the Old Testament. I think this is a new chapter. Part 1. Venus. Chapter 1. The most incredible story. The most incredible story of miracles is told about Joshua Ben Nun, who, when pursuing the Canaanite kings at Beth Horon, implored the sun and the moon to stand still. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Azalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this book written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. Joshua 10:12-13. This story is beyond the belief of even the most imaginative or the most pious person. Waves of stormy sea may have drowned one host and been merciful to another. The earth could crack asunder and swallow up human beings. The Jordan could be blocked by a slice of its bank falling into the bed of the river. Jericho's walls, not by the blast of trumpets but by an incidental earthquake, could have been breached. But that the sun and the moon should halt in their movement across the firmament, this could be only the product of fancy, a poetic image, a metaphor, a hideous implausibility, when imposed as a subject for belief, a matter for scorn. It manifests even a want of reverence for the Supreme Being. According to the knowledge of our age, not of the age when the book of Joshua or of Jasper was written, this could have happened if the earth had ceased for a long time to roll along its prescribed path. Is such a disturbance conceivable? No record of the slightest confusion is registered in the present annals of the earth. Each year consists of 365 days, 5 hours and 49 minutes. A departure of Earth from its regular rotation is thinkable, but only in the very improbable event that our planet should meet another heavenly body of sufficient mass to disrupt the eternal path of our world. Is it true that aerolites or meteorites reach our earth continually, sometimes by thousands and tens of thousands, but no dislocation of our precise turning round and round has ever been prescribed? This does not mean that a larger body or a larger number of bodies could not strike the terrestrial sphere. The large number of asteroids between the orbits of the planets Mars and Jupiter suggests that at some unknown time another planet revolved there. Now only these meteorites follow approximately the path along which the destroyed planet circled the sun. Possibly a comet ran into it and shattered it. That a comet may strike our planet is not very probable, but the idea is not absurd. The heavenly mechanisms works with almost absolute precision, but unstable, their way lost. Comets by the thousands, by the millions, revolve in the sky, and their interference may disrupt the harmony. Some of these comets belong to our system. Periodically they return, but not at very exact intervals, owing to the perturbations caused by gravitation toward the larger planets when they fly too close to them, but innumerable other comets, often seen only through the telescope, come flying in from immeasurable spaces of the universe at very great speed and disappear, possibly forever. Some comets are visible only for hours, some for days, or weeks, or even months. Might it happen that our Earth, the Earth under our feet, would roll toward perilous collision with a huge mass of meteorites, a trail of stones flying at enormous speed around and across our solar system? This probability was analyzed with fervor during the last century. From the time of Aristotle, who asserted that a meteorite which fell at Aegospotami, when a comet was glowing in the sky, had been lifted from the ground by the wind and carried in the air and dropped over the place, until the year 1803, when on April 26, a shower of meteorites fell at Aigle in France and was investigated by Boit of the French Academy of Sciences. Whatever that name was, Aigle, that's what written, but maybe the pronunciation is different. Whatever, I know. And in the meantime, there lived Copernicus, Galileo Galilei, Kepler, Newton, and Huygens. Did not believe that such a thing as a stone falling from the sky was possible at all, and this despite many occasions when stones fell before the eyes of a crowd, as did the aerolite in the presence of Emperor Maximilian and his court in Ensisheim, Alsace, on November 7, 1492. Only shortly before 1803, the Academy of Sciences of Paris refused to believe that on another occasion stones had fallen from the sky. The fall of meteorites on July 24, 1790, in southwest France was pronounced a phenomena physiquement impossible. Whatever the pronounce is. Since the year 1803, however, scholars have believed that the stones falls from the sky. In a stone, if a stone can collide with the earth, and occasionally a shower of stones too, cannot a full-sized comet fly into the face of the earth? It was calculated that such a possibility exists, but that it is very unlikely to occur. If the head of a comet should pass very close to our path, so as to effect a distortion in the career of the earth, another phenomenon besides the disturbed movement of the planet would probably occur. A rain of meteorites would strike the earth and would increase to a torrent. Stones scourged by flying through the atmosphere would be hurled on home and head. In the book of Joshua, 2 verses before the passage about the sun that was suspended on high for a number of hours without moving to the occident, we find this passage. As they, the Canaanite kings, fled before the Israel and were in the going down to Beth Horon, the Lord cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died. There were more which died with hailstones, stones of Barad. Then than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword. Fucking. The author of the book of Joshua was surely ignorant of any connection between the two phenomena. He could not be expected to have had any knowledge about the nature of aerolites, about the forces of attraction between celestial bodies, and the like. As these phenomena were recorded to have occurred together, it is improbable that the records were invented. The meteorites fell on the earth in a torrent. They must have fallen in a very great numbers, for they struck down more warriors than the swords of the adversaries. To have killed persons by the hundreds or the thousands in the field, a cataract of stones must have fallen. Such a torrent of great stones would mean that a train of meteorites or a comet had struck our planet. The quotation in the Bible from the book of Jasher is iconic and may give the impression that the phenomenon of the motionless sun and moon was local, seen only in Palestine between the valley of Azalon and Gibeon, but the cosmic character of the prodigy is pictured in a thanksgiving prayer ascribed to Joshua. Sun and moon stood still in heaven, and thou didst stand in thy wrath against our oppressors. All the princes of the earth stood up, the kings of the nations had gathered themselves together. Thou didst destroy in thy fury, and thou didst ruin in thy rage. Nations raised from fear of thee, kingdoms doubted because of thy wrath. Thou didst pour out thy fury upon them, thou didst terrify them in thy wrath. The earth quaked and trembled from the noise of thy thunders. Thou didst pursue them in thy storm, thou didst consume them in the whirlwind. Their carcasses were like rubbish. Fucked up shit. The wide radius over which the heavenly wrath swept is emphasized in the prayer. All the kingdoms doubted. A torrent of large stones coming from the sky, an earthquake, a real wind, a disturbance in the movement of the earth. These four phenomena belong together. It appears that a large comet must have passed very near to our planet and disrupted its movement. A part of the stones dispersed in the neck and tail of the comet smote the surface of our earth, a shattering blow. As we entitled, sorry, that was a mistake. म यो पछि पढ्छु है.